Hello, this is Mrs. Collins, and today we're going to look at some mixed media project samples. You can also think of this as an embellished photograph, where you start with a digital photograph that you took and you enhance it. So, why are we doing this project? The first reason is to get creative and have some fun. Your goals are multifaceted. And guess what I'm trying to say is we have many learning goals. And what we're going to do is use some current photography trends and some traditional photography methods to create a fine art piece. I'm going to ask that you continue to use effort and practice to grow. And in the end, I'm also going to ask you to analyze your photograph and your final artwork and what it means and the ideas that it conveys with how you created it. So, again, your mission is to take a new photograph or use a photograph that you have taken of your camera partner, a friend, yourself, or a family member. I really want this project to be a portrait. So use your photograph only as a starting point and add to it, embellish it, combine it with other types of traditional visual art mediums to create something new. Check our online classroom for more ideas, research, and additional inspiration. You get to pick the trends you implement and the supplies you use. It's important that you prepare your workspace. I'm going to ask you to present your work to the class when you're finished. You'll also be putting a photograph of your final creation in our online classroom. So after you've selected the photo you want to use or taken a new one, you can apply some graphic effects to it in Photoshop or another software. Then save your file and print it out. Now it's time to start embellishing it and adding other art mediums to it. It would be good to wash your hands before touching the glossy photo paper or the clear plastic to remove any extra fingerprints. Make sure you leave some drying time in between using marker or paint pens or paint. And finally, be sure and clean up your supplies and your mess when you're finished. So these are just a few ideas of different experiments that I did. The first one is a pop art look, where I kind of cartooned myself and then added layers of color with marker. The layered look was I went crazy adding layers of color on top of a photograph that I took. The patterned look is I used permanent marker to add patterns and lines on the background of a photograph. Oh, metallic markers were so much fun. I simplified an image and turned it black and white, and then used metallic Sharpies to enhance it. My background was kind of plain, so I added in some texture by adding dots. And you can even think about embellishing the frame of your photograph and how it's presented. So let's get into the details. So, where did I start? I started by selecting the photo that I wanted to use, and I used Photoshop to edit and use filters on it. I went a little crazy with the filters because I wanted to simplify my photo, and then it would inspire me of different ways I could use it. I did create videos on how to do these adjustments if you need to watch them. But many of you have experience using filters now, so it's up to you how you want to make your photograph look. I really like to use the photo with a threshold adjustment. I tried it on different types of papers, and why I simplified my image so much was it made it easier for me to enhance by adding details on top of it. So the pop art look, take a photo, edit it in Photoshop, print it out, glue it to a mat board, let it dry. Then phase 2 was to select the marker colors that I wanted to use. I did some testing on layers of plastic to make sure they'd look good and get a feel for how the markers worked. Next, I taped the clear plastic down on top of my photograph and started coloring And as you can see, I used very quick blocks of color and messy strokes with my marker to create kind of a painterly fun look. When you're finished, you want to let the markers dry completely and then attach the top of the mat board to finish the frame. So it's always good to put your name tag in the bottom right-hand corner or sign your image. When you're finished, I want you to take a picture of your final artwork to put in our online classroom. And then turn it in on the basket. Turn it in on the basket so we can hang it up and show you. So here's another video where I'm kind of showcasing how I hinged the plastic on top of my picture. You have access to all of these presentations in our online classroom. The metallic look. This one was fun, simple, and kind of crazy. Start with a photo again. I changed it to grayscale in Photoshop, saved it as a JPEG, and printed it. I let it dry for a little bit, and while it was drying, I was selecting my markers and testing them out. I suggest doing your test marks on a small piece of photo paper and try out different types of lines, patterns, and designs to see what you would like on your final image. Go ahead, mark up your photo with the metallic marker and add details and outlines. Be sure and take your time and let the marks dry before moving forward to a next section of your photo, because it's easy for the marker to smear with your hand and your fingers, so you want to take your time and go slow. When you're finished, attach your photograph to mat board if you wish. Add your name tag in the bottom corner, take a quick photo, upload it to our online classroom, and turn it in the basket so we can display it. Here's a quick video of me showing you how fun the digital artwork looks with the metallic marker on it. It's just really fun mixing the glossy paper with kind of the matte markers. It was just kind of a cool look. But I can't wait to see what you create. So the layered look. This project was really fun, and I enjoyed exploring what I could do with markers and plastic on top of paper. So it was the same idea where I started with my digital photograph, I printed it, I glued it down, and I started taping clear plastic on top of it. I decided to go with a standard cyan, magenta, yellow, and black color scheme. I tested my markers first, and I started attaching layers of plastic on top of my picture. I started with yellow, and I started enhancing my image with one color on one layer of plastic. If you don't like how it turned out, the good news is you just take the plastic off, and then you can add a new piece on and color it in a different way. So as you can see, I proceeded to add additional layers of plastic and marker on top of each other. I paid special attention to how these colors mixed when they overlapped, and then I decided to add a layer of outlines on the top. Again, if I'm going through this too fast, you have access to see this presentation in our online classroom. And you can see here how I flipped the different layers together, and the top of the mat actually holds down the plastic. So you don't have to glue it or tape it down really intense, just kind of tape it like a hinge at the top. This is how the final piece turned out. I thought it was kind of fun and whimsical. I really enjoyed making it. The next idea was to take a printed photo and simply enhance the background. This photo was actually very small, so I used ultrafine Sharpies for this particular project, and I had a lot of fun coming up with patterns, lines, and designs. I went crazy with patterns. I didn't want to forget about the frame, so I wanted to come up with an idea where we could embellish the frame and the photo. This is completely optional, it's just another idea. So I took one of my filtered photos, I enhanced it, and then I added a frame on it, and I used paint markers to color it and design it in a unique way that went well with my photograph. This particular style, I keep adding to it because I had a lot of fun making it, but I added a piece of clear plastic within the mat, and I did some outlining on it too to create a layer within it. Again, this project is lots of fun because you get to pick the layers. Anyway, my intention is not for you to try every one of these styles, but was just to inspire you to come up with some ideas of ways you can embellish and add other media to your photographs. If you need help, please let me know. I can't wait to see what you create. And thanks for watching.